If you have opened your electric bill recently, you have likely noticed a sharp, painful increase. Part of that is the physical reality of a grid strained by modern demands, like the massive energy requirements of AI data centers. But the actual cost to generate a megawatt of electricity has not increased at a rate that explains the total jump in your monthly statement. To find the missing money, we have to look past the wires and the power plants and follow the cash into the boardrooms where the rules of the market are being rewritten. For most of the last century, electricity was treated as an essential public service. It was managed by regional monopolies that were viewed as stable, if boring, infrastructure. Under this cost of service model, regulators allowed utilities to charge exactly what it costs to produce power, plus a strictly capped, reasonable profit for their investors. That changed with the push for deregulation. The new goal was to treat electricity like any other competitive commodity, under the theory that a free market would naturally lower prices for everyone. But instead of creating a competitive marketplace for consumers, the breakup of these monopolies turned a public utility into a volatile financial casino. This shift was overseen by the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, which moved away from cost controls in favor of market-based rates. They utilized a mechanism called locational marginal pricing. In this system, the price of all electricity on the grid is set by the single most expensive generator needed to meet demand that day, which is almost always a high-cost natural gas plant. This means that older, cheaper plants, like coal, nuclear, or hydro, are allowed to charge the high natural gas price. They reap windfall profits on power that costs them very little to produce. The data shows the impact on your bill. In 2006, the average price of electricity in the 12 deregulated states was 48% higher than the price in states that maintained traditional regulation. In practice, this market structure neutralized the downward pressure of competition, creating a system where the highest generation cost became the baseline for everyone else. These high-profit market rules acted as a magnet for institutional money. Private equity firms began acquiring utilities, looking to exploit their status as regulated monopolies with a guaranteed captive customer base. This trend raised alarms in Washington. U.S. senators warned that these acquisitions allow firms to rake in excess profits from rising energy demands at the expense of everyday Americans. Beyond direct buyouts, massive asset managers like BlackRock and Vanguard acquired dominant shares across the entire energy sector, giving them the power to influence the policies of major producers. The Texas Attorney General filed a lawsuit alleging that these firms conspired to artificially constrict the coal market to meet specific environmental goals. This reduced the total energy supply, which predictably drove up electricity costs for consumers. Whether the goal is a private equity flip or ideological supply constriction, the result is the same. The grid is being used as a financial tool, leaving ratepayers to cover the costs of the experiment. The incentives created by financializing the grid travel across borders. Crossing into Uganda reveals what happens when these same motives for extraction collide with weak institutional oversight. Investigations uncovered energy mafias within the Rural Electrification Agency. These groups used fake companies and substandard equipment to siphon off infrastructure funds while still collecting full payments from the state. These cartels manipulated tariffs to swindle billions of shillings, creating a crisis that eventually forced the national leadership to intervene in the agency's operations. While the methods vary, the outcome is universal. When the grid is treated as a financial slush fund, the public utility is compromised to serve the interests of elite actors. After decades of deregulation, the results are in. This report shows that 92% of households in retail tree states still have no meaningful ability to choose an alternative supplier. The promised competition never materialized. From Wall Street boardroom maneuvers to systemic graft abroad, the financialization of the grid has prioritized the extraction of wealth over the maintenance of an essential public service. The consumer is uniquely vulnerable here. Electricity is an inelastic requirement for life in the modern world. You cannot simply choose to stop buying it when the price is manipulated. Is managed as a public utility rather than a financial instrument, the people paying the bills will continue to be a captive audience for whoever owns the wires.